Started 18 weeks later. The Bills and Eagles are in the playoffs, and the Ravens will be watching from home. After the game, the coach and the quarterback were both asked about John Harbaugh's future.
You feeling like you want another shot with these guys?
Yeah, I love these guys. I love these guys.
Do you want to see John remain the coach next year?
That's you asked me about next year, Jameson. Like, I'm so caught up in what just happened tonight. I can't focus on that right now. I just told you. Like, he asked me, "Are you stunned?" I'm stunned right now. I'm still trying to process what's going on. Like, I know we lost, but what the like, you know? That's all.
Huh. Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
If you were a head coach, you were John Harbaugh, and that was your quarterback, and he said that, what would you think?
I'm done. And I mean, my thing is, like, it's not hard for the quarterback to sit back and say, you know what? Hell yeah, man. You know, of course, I want Coach Harbaugh back, and, you know, this stinks, but we're going to get back, and we'll be better next year. It's not hard to answer that question, even if you don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Even if you don't feel that way. And to me, this man has been awful good to Lamar Jackson. And for you to just leave him out there like that, I think is BS. I really do. And look, I think Harbs is probably gone. All right, anytime you underachieve this badly, all right, things happen. And it's no reflection of John Harbaugh as a coach. I think he's an outstanding coach. But sometimes when you don't meet expectations, don't come close to expectations, things happen. That's the case. I hate to see their relationship go out like that.
What did you think of it, D? The Jameson he's talking to is Jameson Hensley, who's our reporter who asks him the question. And I can sort of see both sides of it. I can see your face, Dan, like he's giving you an honest answer in the moment. I can't even think about it. But to your point, he's a National Football League quarterback who has been had been answering questions professionally for a long time. He had to know that something like that was probably coming. It could easily have he could have answered it in such a way that didn't leave us to be interpreting it this way. What did you think of it, D. Wood?
I think that Lamar just dropped the breadcrumbs of how he really felt. I understand. Listen, I don't deny that Lamar Jackson is emotional. You're coming off a game where it literally comes down to a field goal, and you're on the outside looking in. But again, like, we're professionals. The press comes in, that's gonna be like the first question they ask. Yeah. Because this noise has been going on throughout the organization for weeks. And that's what you give us?
And so it's easy to say. So again, I'll ask you. You're a player in New England. There's noise around Bill Belichick. You lose the game that decides the division. The reporters come in and ask you how you feel about Coach Belichick being back. How do you think you would answer that in a spot like that?
Me personally, at that point in time, I wouldn't address it, being my coach, because I know how I'm programmed. I know how Bill programmed us in New England. So I wouldn't go out and say, question. Yes, I would be like.
Can you say I believe in my coach? Anything like that before you deflect or?
Listen. I would say, listen. I love Bill. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
It's just a question for another day.
That was the part that was missing, to your point, from that answer. Was anything about the coach at all?
Okay. One, this is the second straight season that Lamar and the Ravens season ends on the final play in heartbreak fashion.
Yeah.
So there's got to be this unbelievable amount of frustration. Two, start the season 1-5.
Yep.
You fight and claw and find a way to have a kick to win the division. And I guarantee walking off that field, everybody in Baltimore is thinking, we did it. We found a way to win that game. We're going to win the division, and we got as good a chance as anybody. And the only thing I'm going to say in relation to it, when it comes to the Lamar, and there's a little bit of me putting myself in his shoes, an assumption. What do we want him to say? Because I was listening to Brady yesterday talk about pain and the pain of losing and the importance of sitting in that pain and not just living in the, well, we'll go get him next year type of thing or move on. And I loved it because there's just that reality as a player. You're sitting there going, I do think Lamar's telling us the truth there. And so both of those things can be true, that he can think Harbaugh is a great coach, but not necessarily want to answer things that are correlating to next year in that moment.
Now, that's what Shefty is for. So let's come to you on that. Yesterday, you told us on Sunday NFL Countdown that there's been all this conversation about Mike Tomlin's future, but that in your opinion, the future of John Harbaugh is actually the more interesting topic. Now they've lost in the fashion in which they lost. What should we be thinking?
Well, again, to that point, there's been so much speculation about so many coaches leading up to this particular day and those games yesterday. And there really wasn't very much on John Harbaugh's future. And those conversations, I think, are going to go on from both sides. I don't expect John Harbaugh's getting fired, but I do think that after 18 years as the second longest tenured coach in the National Football League behind only Mike Tomlin at 19 years, just like everybody's talked about Mike Tomlin having conversations, there are going to be even more conversations surrounding John Harbaugh, especially after another season ends where you don't win the division. Last year, Mark Andrews on the two-point conversion. 2 years ago, Zay Flowers drops the ball on the way into the end zone against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we have Tyler Loop missing the field goals. 3 straight seasons that don't end the way this organization wants. Didn't you say they fired Brian Billick after he had won a Super Bowl? They moved on from him. I don't know how this is going to play out. The Ravens, I don't know how it's, and I don't know that John Harbaugh knows how it's going to play out. But the fact that we don't know how it's going to play out is what's interesting about such a legendary coaching figure.
All right, so we're going to keep a close eye on that. We did have one coaching move yesterday, Shefty. We'll get to that, and we're waiting to see if anything else happens. Let me run through a few more things for you here. There's so much to try and get to this morning. Wild card games in the AFC. Steelers get the #1 defense in the league, and the Texans, that's our game next Monday night. Patriots host the Chargers, first home playoff game in New England since Tom Brady was their quarterback. And then, I don't know, you tell me if this isn't the sexiest matchup. Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence in the 3-6 game. Allen and Lawrence second and third in total touchdowns this year behind only Matthew Stafford. So let's go quickly through some of these. Dan, first, a blush, Texans, Steelers. Rex has been riding the Texans bandwagon since they were the 2 games out of the playoffs. This feels like a very tough spot for Aaron Rodgers and company.
Yeah, it's the best defense in the playoffs, along with Seattle. They're going to suffocate that offensive line. They're not going to give a lot of air for Rodgers to get the ball out of his hands. I'd also say this, C.J. Stroud in this Houston offense. 2023, he's playing against Cleveland, who was the #1 defense in the league last year. Gutted them. Last year, Chargers playing him in the playoffs. #1 defense in the league. Absolutely ripped them up. So it's not only this defense in Houston that I think is going to create problems. I think C.J. Stroud in Houston's offense versus Pittsburgh's defense. C.J. Stroud plays big in big moments.
Houston is a 3.5-point favorite in that game. Let me come here on the Bills and Jaguars. The Bills are a 1.5-point favorite at Jacksonville. Now, this man to my left, who I sometimes jokingly say Josh Allen is like your adopted son.
True.
You called Trevor Lawrence Josh Allen 2.0 on the air a couple of weeks ago. What's your first blush on Buffalo Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, the way he's playing, I think it's Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is going to win this game. And the reason I say it is like Trevor Lawrence, when I say Josh Allen 2.0, why? He's really showing up in the red zone. He's got that bazooka arm, and guess what else he can do? He can absolutely run it, but he can spin it. He's got such a big arm in the red zone, and he can absolutely take off with it. He's second to Josh Allen in touchdowns rushing by quarterbacks this year. And by the way, they can play defense. This is one of the only teams that has a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. So to me, everything tells me Jacksonville's the team to beat in this one.
Didn't you say just a few weeks ago that Jacksonville's defense was more impactful, maybe better than Denver's defense?
That's right.
Okay, so if you're talking about a defense at that level and an offense that's performed like Jacksonville, where they're routinely scoring over 30 points a game, and they've won, 9 straight games? 9?
9 straight games, and they're #2 in the league in takeaways, where Denver's not turning the ball over defensively. So to me, what the Bears actually do is get takeaways. Yeah. This team can actually stop you, unlike
and
the
get
Bears.
takeaways.
Yes.
First blush, Allen or Trevor Lawrence next Sunday.
Trevor.
Yeah.
Trevor is on the hit. Trevor has been playing on the heater. Listen, he's the 4th guy in NFL history that has 25 touchdown passes and 10 rushing touchdowns. The dude is playing phenomenal right now, and like you said, and he has a defense to back him up.
And the fact that we're even asking the question, Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen, tells you how far the Jaguars have come under Liam Cohen. Trevor or Josh Allen. Trevor Lawrence. When was he mentioned with Josh Allen in his career up until this year?
Dan is going to do a Trevor Lawrence breakdown in hour number 2. I want to show you some eye candy this morning. I hope Randy Moss is up early and watching this morning, because we got Gabe Davis in the end zone against Samuel Warmack yesterday, and Mitchell Trubisky is going to throw it up. And hey, Rexy, you know what the words are?
You got Moss.
That's Gabe Davis coming down with the mossing there. And what did not
against
happen,
that defense?
what you might notice, Dan, is
boy.
that on this play, the New York Jets did not intercept a pass. That's not something that should come as a surprise, because yesterday the New York Jets became the first team in NFL history. There were 515 passes thrown against them this year. None of them were intercepted. Dan, what do we say? And I'll point out the empty seat here. Schefter took a call. You never know what that might mean. We'll find out in a minute.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most unbelievable stats in the history of the NFL. How is a ball?
You're being nice.
How is
This
a ball
it.
not intercepted off a tip, off a bad route, off of going off someone's hands? The quarterback makes a bad throw. He's pressured into a floater. He gets hit and the ball pops out. I don't understand how this is possible.
What you're seeing now are what the opposing quarterbacks did against the New York Jets defense this season, a team that hired a defensive coordinator to be their new head coach. Rex, quick thought.
Yeah, like this one kind of blows me away. I mean, it really does. Like, there's no way in hell you see this coming. I mean, a whole season without an interception. I mean, gosh, if I went 2 weeks, you'd think, what the hell is going on? But
The Jets concluded a season. Look, they haven't been worth the time on a national show like this for me to rant and rave about it, so I haven't been doing it. I'm not going to do it. The Jets are a team that does not deserve conversation. For the last month, they did not remotely resemble